Good evening, hello and welcome to the news today, your destination for the newsmakers, the talking points, news with perspective. Every weeknight here on India Today Television, start of a brand new week, Monday night.
खुद की गाड़ी लेना तो इम्पॉसिबल है आज की तारीख में।
जितना कमाते हैं वो आधा से ऊपर तेल में चला जाता है।
पहले सरकार में बढ़ती थी तो इतने चिल्लाते थे।
गवर्नमेंट जिम्मेदार है सर, कोई नहीं।
Our top story tonight, petrol is literally on fire. The prices of petrol and diesel increasing yet again, hitting a new all-time high. In Mumbai, a litre of petrol tonight will cost you more than 86 rupees. In Delhi, the price is touching 80 soon. Why are the state and central governments not cutting taxes on fuel? How will all this play out in an election year for the Modi government? The combustible prices of fuel is our top story tonight.
Fuel prices at an all-time high. Today, prices rose by up to 42 paisa. And the anger on the street is evident.
Cost of petrol in India is much higher than the cost of petrol in certain other countries which are underdeveloped compared to India. I don't know how they're able to manage. If they're able to manage it, we should be able to manage better.
हम लोग टैक्सी ड्राइवर है, हर दिन में अगर जितना कमाते हैं वो आधा से ऊपर तेल में चला जाता है, तो हम लोग को बचता कुछ नहीं है।
जब से सरकार मोदी सरकार आई है तब से कम 10 बार रेट ऊपर नीचे हो रहे हैं। इससे जनता ही परेशान है और क्या है।
Petrol is costliest in the commercial capital Mumbai at rupees 86.56 per litre, while in the national capital it has touched 79.15 per litre. Diesel too touched a new high, leaving transporters and motorists fuming. In Delhi, diesel prices have reached rupees 71.15 per litre, an increase of 39 paise. While in Mumbai, the price of diesel increased to rupees 75.54 after an increase of 42 paise. The Narendra Modi government says the price hike is inevitable, given that crude prices are on the up. What is hurting it more is the slide of rupee against the dollar. India ends up spending more for every barrel of crude it imports. The Congress, on the other hand, blames the centre. It points out that Manmohan Singh as PM had managed to keep prices low, even when crude was selling at more than $111.
डॉलर स्ट्रांग होते गया, बाकी करेंसी वीक हुए, इंडियन करेंसी भी वीक हुआ। ये दो प्रमुख कारण हैं इन दिनों में तेल की दामों में उछाल आने के लिए। हमें लगता है ये अस्थायी है, इसमें कुछ स्थिरता आएगी।
It makes absolutely no sense at all because internationally the crude price is at $69.61 dollars to a barrel.
The government says its hands are tied. A cut in petrol and diesel prices will cost the government rupees 28,000 crore, even if it's lowered by rupees 2 per litre. It will also increase the fiscal deficit by 0.1% of GDP. The centre says fuel prices can be controlled if they're brought under the GST, but states are not game. Petrol and diesel are the only revenue generators for them now. A look at the states with the highest taxes on fuel gives the game away. The state with the highest tax on petrol prices is Maharashtra at 39.54% in Mumbai, followed by Madhya Pradesh at 35.98%, both ruled by the BJP. Andhra Pradesh and Punjab also figure in the top 5, and both are opposition ruled. Fuel prices, if they go unchecked, could increase inflation and hit industrial growth. In an election year, the Modi government at some point in time will be tempted to step in and control fuel prices. That allowed oil marketing companies a free hand in fixing prices. With Mayuresh Ganpathe, Manogya Loiwal, Lokpriya and Nolan Pinto, Bureau Report, India Today.
That's right. Fuel clearly on fire as the taxes continue to be increased by state governments. Some of the big questions: are the centre and state governments robbing citizens to simply fill their coffers? Who handled fuel prices better, the Modi government or the previous Manmohan Singh government? Will Prime Minister Modi now step in to check fuel prices in this big election year? Will the rupee slide further increase the pressure on fuel prices? Is bringing fuel under GST perhaps the only solution? Are rising fuel prices not an issue really for the middle class anymore? Just some of the questions I want to raise. Joining me now from the BJP, Narendra Taneja, himself an expert on oil. Rajiv Gowda, the head of the Congress's research team and its member of parliament, also an economist himself. And Rajiv Dubey, our managing editor here, joining me. Before I come into our debate, let's just listen in to exactly around 3 months ago when I spoke to Oil Minister Dharmendra Pradhan. This is what he said the government was going to do to control prices at the time. Listen in carefully, Narendra Taneja, to what your minister said then. Between November 2014 and January 2016, when global oil prices were falling, again, I, the consumer, didn't get the benefit. At that stage, the government raised excise duty on petrol by rupees 11.77 a litre and that on diesel by 13.47 a litre. So when the prices are down, global prices are down, you raise taxes. Now when the global prices are high, you continue to raise taxes. All you want to do is earn money. This is your golden goose. So it's not about, and the consumer suffers. Whether global prices are high or low, the consumer is suffering, Mr. Minister.
भारतीय मुद्रा और डॉलर की एक्सचेंज रेट की फ्लक्चुएशन और टैक्स कंपोनेंट के कारण, राज्य और केंद्र दोनों की टैक्स कंपोनेंट के कारण आज प्राइस जो हमारे सामने वो इसीलिए है। ये तीनों विषयों के संतुलन बनाना, उसको रेशनलाइज करना, ये काम पे भारत सरकार लगी है। आज मध्यवर्गीय लोगों को, गरीब लोगों को, किसानों को प्राइस पिंच कर रहा है, इसकी संज्ञान, उसकी संवेदनशीलता इस सरकार के पास है। इसको कैसे रास्ता निकालना, क्योंकि ये 3 फैक्टर को आज ओपेक कंट्री ने उत्पादन घटाया है। उनको दे आर प्रोड्यूसिंग स्टेट, दे नीड मोर प्राइस फॉर देयर प्रोडक्शन। वी आर कंज्यूमिंग कंट्री, वी नीड ए रीजनेबल एंड रेस्पॉन्सिबल प्राइस।
20 states, what is to stop those 20 states from cutting VAT or sales tax? When we last spoke a couple of months ago, you said you wanted these states to bring petroleum products under GST. Now that can also be done. At least the BJP states can take the initiative. In fact, you can ask the 20 BJP states to come together and say, look, we want petroleum products under GST at 18%. We want to cut sales tax. Can't they do that? Let the BJP set the example.
देश के अंदर एक टैक्स रेशनैलिटी लाने के लिए पेट्रोलियम प्रोडक्ट को भी जीएसटी में लाना चाहिए। लेकिन जीएसटी में प्रारंभिक दिनों में एक डर था कि कैसे होगा, क्या होगा, लेकिन जीएसटी की जैसे आज सफलता हमें ध्यान में आ रही है, राज्य केंद्र ये ज़्यादा दूर नहीं है वो दिन कि वो लोग उसमें से आ जाएंगे। सिर्फ इसको एक राजनीतिक चश्मे से कि फलाना पार्टी की सरकार सारे राज्यों में इसलिए कर दे, ऐसा सोचना शायद वास्तविक उस राज्य के लिए न्याय नहीं होगा।
Okay, there you have the minister really deflecting from the core question, Narendra Taneja, which is quite simply this. When I look at the taxes, Maharashtra is number 1, BJP ruled, taxes almost 40% on petroleum VAT. As a result, prices now almost touching 86 rupees and more. Madhya Pradesh number 2, again BJP ruled, taxes about 38-39%, again very high. As a result, petrol prices. What stops the governments of the BJP from taking the first step of cutting taxes?
Yeah, I mean this, the tax architecture you are referring to, Rajdeep, we didn't create it. It has been in place for over 50 years now. And this is what we are proposing, that let's rework this architecture, because this architecture is not sustainable and the ordinary consumer of petrol, diesel are finding it very difficult
Sir,
to deal
you are
with
4 years
That's
into power. Now you can't pass it on to the previous government. You have been in power in 4 years. You are in power in 20 states. You didn't pass on the benefit when global prices were low in 2014-15. Now when global prices are rising, you again don't pass on the benefit to me.
Rajdeep, you have to allow me. Rajdeep, you have to allow me to complete. You see, this is here we are talking of something. 85% of total oil we consume is imported. We consume 4.5 million barrels of oil every day. We are not a small country. Look at the size of consumption, please. And then at the same time, I'm saying that we are willing to rework the architecture. And the only way forward is, which we have said repeatedly to the Congress, that let's work together and bring it under GST. But Rahul Gandhi is going all around the world and saying GST is Gabbar Singh tax. How do we talk? The only way forward, if you are sensitive to consumers' needs and you are sensitive to what they want, you have no option but to bring it under GST, and you call it Gabbar Singh tax. Now the point is, the way forward is to rework the tax architecture. As far as import cost is concerned, there is nothing we can do. That's not in our control. Those external factors are totally out of our control. The only thing we can do is rework, and we are willing for it. We have repeatedly talked about it. We are talking with finance minister of various states, include Punjab, Karnataka and Pondicherry, but Congress calls it Gabbar Singh tax.
But no meeting has been called to seriously discuss this issue. It suits everyone. It suits everyone, Rajiv Gowda, according to Narendra Taneja.
No. You are factually incorrect, Rajdeep. You are factually incorrect. Rajdeep, we have been talking with finance minister of all the states, including Punjab, Karnataka and Pondicherry. Each one of them.
Okay, let Rajiv Gowda respond. Rajiv Gowda, if the BJP states are number 1 and 2 when it comes to high taxes, Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh, the Congress in Punjab is not far behind, and even in Karnataka, when you had the opportunity to maybe set an example, instead you again raised VAT. All of you want the revenues for your various expenditure schemes. Your exchequers are bankrupt. You turn to fuel to get your revenues. That is the harsh reality of this country. The middle class consumer now just has to accept it.
Rajdeep, there are 2 points that I want to make here. One, the BJP government, both in the center and in the states, is just twisting a dagger into the hearts of the people of India, the consumers of fuel, and also into the economy itself. Because they are, the BJP governments are not reducing what is in their power, which is the tax and the cess that they impose on petroleum, the excise duties, sorry. And basically, what you find is that they could have set the example. You are mentioning, the second point is about Karnataka. The Karnataka had the lowest rates in terms of excise duties and VAT. And only after, when we have to deal with this huge challenge of addressing farmers' loans, we've increased it a little bit. So that's all. Basically, the Congress party under Rahul Gandhi has been very, very supportive of bringing petroleum products under GST.
If the BJP at the center called a meeting on GST, if the BJP called a meeting on GST and said bring fuel under GST, would you agree?
The BJP implements.
Would you agree if the BJP called a meeting, if the government at the center called a meeting and said, let's bring GST under
let BJP call? Why? You are dreaming. You're dreaming if you think the BJP is going to do that. They have managed to sustain the economy and maintain some level of growth only by milking the dividend that they got from lower oil prices. They have not been able to run the economy. They have in fact devastated the economy with demonetization and by turning a very progressive measure like GST into a Gabbar Singh tax, the way they implemented it so faultily. So basically, what they've done is they've squeezed the Indian consumer. They've messed with the economy and its ability to grow in order to ensure that they're able to give some window dressing to their fiscal responsibility goals. And that was the absolute wrong thing to do. We've said that, I've said that in Parliament to Mr. Jaitley, that this should have been passed on to the consumer. The economy would have grown further, but instead they're unable to meet, the 1% of the growth rate that they have benefited from over the last few years, which is already so low by the, if you look at the old
Professor Gowda
calculations, is because of low oil prices. And they blew it, and they ensured that they took our money away through excise duties and taxes of the highest sort, double what UPA used to charge when we had the double fuel prices in the international market.
Okay, Professor Gowda, you made your opening remarks. You made your opening remarks, Professor.
India, and this is the result of economic mismanagement.
Rajdeep,
I will let you, Narendra Taneja, in a moment respond, but I want to bring in Rajiv Dubey because we can be politically partisan as to who is responsible for the high prices of fuel. But the fact is, Rajiv Dubey, the center has it in its power to cut excise. There are state governments which could, if they chose, at least set an example by saying we are cutting fuel because we believe it's hurting the consumer. No one will do it.
Neither the
For the last 1 year, I've had the petroleum minister on my program. We've had state petroleum ministers. They say that we are concerned about the consumer. No one wants to do it at the moment.
Absolutely. Neither the two parties, nor the center, nor the states, nobody wants to cut fuel taxes. Essentially,
golden goose.
It's a golden goose, because if you look at it, the taxes right now, the states are charging between 45 and 55% of the price that the consumer pays. States and center are charging that much on taxes. If you bring it under GST, it's going to be around at best 28% plus cesses. Where will the balance 14-15% come from? Nobody has the money to make up for that. More importantly, between 2014 and 2018, the amount collected on GST has gone up from 3,30,000 crore to 5,55,000 crore last year. Where will all this money? This money has all been deployed in social schemes, in subsidies, and in
basically the money collected from fuel is what is fueling the government social sector projects.
Precisely. So it's a political hot potato to do it in an election year. Nobody will do it. Nobody wants to do it.
But should they not have done it, Rajiv, in 2014-15 when global oil prices were low? Should the benefit have not been passed on to the consumer?
Ideally, yes.
It was suggested that now fuel will be market linked. When global oil prices were low, I didn't get the benefit in 2014-15. To that extent, Professor Gowda is right. This government used that opportunity to actually
fund the social schemes. So social schemes, Rajdeep, in the past 5 years, have the investment that has gone into that is over 10 lakh crore. Over 10 lakh crore from fuel taxes have been deployed in social schemes. So it's a lot of money that has gone into funding that political advantage.
So why not therefore be honest with the consumer today, or the viewer today, the middle class viewer, Narendra Taneja, say, look, we want to fund these ambitious social sector schemes, the Awas Yojanas, the Ayushman Bharat. Now we want money for it. We are going to get it out of high fuel prices. Accept that. Be honest. Why can't you be a little bit more honest with people instead of saying we are trying, it's about global prices? It's not about global prices, because even when they were low, you didn't pass on the benefit to the consumer. Now when they're high, it's out of control. And we are in an election year where you cannot afford to cut on social sector schemes.
Rajdeep, your judgment that Mr. Gowda is right, your judgment is wrong. He is wrong and you are also wrong. You see, the fact is, economics, I challenge Mr. Gowda to discuss it, debate it, cold facts versus cold facts. He is an economist. Let's debate, I challenge him. The fact is that all he has said is just the political slogans. That's not how it works. Come to the cold fact. The fact is, when they were in power, they issued oil bonds worth 1,50,000 crore. Who is servicing those bonds? We are paying for it.
So when Manmohan Singh was in power, global oil was $106 a barrel, and Indian oil prices were 70. 1 minute. When Manmohan Singh was in power, global oil prices were more than $100 a barrel. In India, it was about 65 rupees. Today it's 86. When global oil prices are 70 a dollar.
Allow me to
70 a barrel, $70 a barrel.
No, the point is that if you are comparing the regime which was, if you are comparing the regime which was regulated to comparing the regime which is now decontrolled by Dr. Manmohan Singh in 2010, petrol first and then diesel in 2014 was also decontrolled. These are two different republics. Controlled regime and decontrolled regime. In decontrolled, government has no control over the price.
So decontrolled, but you have control over excise and VAT. I agree with you, it's a decontrolled regime, then allow market forces to play. Then why bring in excise and duties? Why bring in the excise and VAT to burden the consumer?
Listen, Rajdeep, only a naive will talk like this, that there should be no taxes on petroleum price. Name one country where there is no taxes. Name one country. Are you saying that there should be no taxes on any commodity, on any product?
Petrol prices are lower in all our neighboring countries.
With you instantly.
Mr. Taneja, petrol prices, let's not talk over each other, sir.
And just pass on like that.
Sir, I'll ask the question, you answer. I am asking you, petrol prices across our neighboring countries are lower than India today.
What do I do?
No, they are lower than India today. Petrol prices in our neighboring countries, Pakistan, Bangladesh, lower than India.
Now listen, Mr. Rajdeep, allow me now to answer. You have asked a question. A journalist has asked a question. I am party spokesman. Let me allow. Are you comparing with Pakistan? 50% people in Pakistan don't have electricity. They get crude oil and special aid because they are an Islamic country. And the same goes to some extent for Bangladesh. Are you now, when it comes to petroleum products, you want to compare India with these countries? Otherwise, you will compare always with America on every other thing. Is that the kind of, what is the basis for that? If we are a fast-growing emerging economy, compare India with China, and I discuss debate numbers with you, any numbers. Or compare us with a country which are like us, emerging large economy. I don't want to become, if Bhutan is dependent on us, Nepal is dependent on us, we supply oil to Sri Lanka. For strategic reasons, we give them oil at very discounted rates. And they don't have a tax infrastructure. Pakistan does a tax infrastructure. It's a country ruled by 100 feudal lords. Or do you want India to be like Pakistan?
Okay.
At least I don't want.
Let me bring in Professor Gowda.
Compare
So you
with
made
China,
your point.
Compare with Britain. Compare with other countries.
Okay. Professor Gowda, now respond to what you are hearing from Mr. Taneja. Look, the Congress also lost control of the economy in 2012 to 14 when it came to prices. Inflation was out of control. The BJP is claiming today that basically inflation has been more or less at tolerable levels in the last few years. It's only now in the last few months as oil prices rise that they've had to, in a sense, have no option but to raise the prices, and no government in this country has the will or the ability or the leeway, the elbow room to actually allow fuel duties and VAT and excise to be cut on fuel prices.
See, Rajdeep, basically any sensible government will ensure that when the times are good, that they will set aside some resources for times that could be bad. We were not in a situation in the 2014-15 year where people would say this is the permanent low price of oil. We always know that it can always grow up. So you need to have policy measures that you can come up with to prevent the burden from worsening on the people of India, and of course
so what would you do? You'd have an oil fund?
Impacted.
What would you have done?
Kind of planning,
what would the Congress do?
Putting aside
Mr. Professor Gowda, you are in the opposition, very easy to attack the government. What would you do?
Basically you can, Yes. You can have a stabilization fund. You can have resources put aside for things like that. And because, and the basic point is that is how you would balance out your cuts in taxes and excise duties. When the government pleads that they're helpless because they're incapable. That's the basic point here in terms of managing the economy. They've been very lucky with the low oil price bonanza, which they've squandered, and now they're going to be facing heavy inflation because of higher oil prices. They're going to be squeezing the poor and the middle class and people who are going to face not just higher prices of petrol, but they're going to be affected in terms of their per capita income, the amount that is highest is in India in terms of allocation to fuel and transport. So basically, this government is setting the stage for their own failure at the election, because there's going to be a mass upsurge. People are going to reject this government for their economic mismanagement.
Professor Gowda,
and the basic point
Professor Gowda, you made your political point. Professor Gowda,
government cares for the people and ensure that the burden
these are all
of fuel
political
taxes
slogans.
was
No
much,
meat,
of
no
the fuel
content.
prices was much lower.
No meat in it, no
That's
economics
how much we
there.
care,
All
and the
political
BJP
slogans.
doesn't care.
Okay, therefore, Mr. Taneja, is this politically suicidal, what you are doing? This is an election year. According to the Congress, one of the reasons many believe they lost 2014 was "Bahut hui महंगाई से बाहर, अब की बार Modi सरकार." Now the shoe is on the other foot. In an election year, what can you do to actually soften the blow on the consumers? How long will you keep saying fuel is decontrolled, we have nothing to do with it, we can't help it if international oil prices are rising, and the fear is they're going to rise even further?
Rajdeep, first of all, you see, we are a large party, close to 12 crore members. We know what we are talking, and we also know what we are doing. You just heard the spokesperson of the Congress party. He didn't talk economics even for a second. He was only talking pure politics, no economic. But this is economics too. I don't say there is no politics, but it's largely economics. Now the point here is that, in 2014, just go and check your own newspaper, check your own channels archives. All these oil companies which are responsible for making oil available to the people were in ICU. Each one of them, they were in ICU in such a bad shape. Now the question is, look at these companies now. These are the tools, these are the instruments which secure energy for every consumer, including Rajdeep, you and me. Now this is what we have managed to achieve. And at the same time, the people are not complaining. Inflation is at an all-time low. Inflation in 2013 was close to 13%. Where it is today? Not even, it's 4.13%. See the difference. People are not complaining.
Okay.
They are not protesting. Those who have got toilets, those who have got LPG cylinder, those who have got electricity, they know what we have done with the money we collected when the oil prices were low. And we are communicating with them. Congress is not in touch with the reality. Congress is 5-star party, 5-star party. What do they know what's happened to the ordinary people? These are all dynasts and that kind of party. So please, let's not debate politics. When it comes to us, we know what we are doing.
We've heard the two politicians,
we will ensure people
Taneja
are, whatever
I've given you equal time now.
Is looked after. We will look after it. We will look after the consumer. We will look after the people.
Okay, those are now both sides making political points. Let's get the reality. We are in an election year.
Yes.
Is there some truth in what the Congress suggests, that there has been economic management?
You've taken ONGC
Okay,
and used it to bail out.
1 minute, sir. I know you will say that they've used ONGC to bail out another PSU, but let's be honest. Has the BJP mismanaged the fuel economy? Did they have the benefit of a benign global environment for the first 3 years and now are facing the other side of it?
So
how do you compare Manmohan Singh versus Narendra Modi on managing the fuel economy?
So, there was a time when from 2011 onwards, when there was a reduction in international crude prices would fall in the domestic economy and they would rise when the international prices rise, but that hasn't been happening to the extent from 2014 onwards. So all the arguments saying that, we believe in market-based economy is all incorrect. After increasing taxes to this extent, you basically deployed all the funds and all the extra money that has come in the past 5 years. Like I said, 10 lakh crore.
Could they have had an oil stabilization fund of the kind that some countries like Thailand have?
A lot of countries have it. UK has it, for instance. China is planning to build it. A lot of countries have it. But that is planned in times of benign international prices. You can't plan it at this point in time. If you had that kind of fund, you would have those 10 lakh crore in that fund today, which you could have now deployed in times when you actually need to cut prices. But government right now doesn't have an option. They cannot cut prices, they cannot cut social schemes, they cannot cut infrastructure projects, they cannot cut subsidies. They are only hoping that the advantages of social schemes will far outweigh the disadvantages of what the consumer is facing in terms of pain right now.
So you see prices now only rising further?
If international prices, this trend continues, prices will rise and there's going to be more pain.
Okay, there's going to be more pain. That's the worrying words from our expert here today. Even as the politicians insist, the BJP insists that they are softening the blow on the consumer, the Congress management of the oil economy. Let's leave it. 3 voices, 3 different perspectives that we've heard here today. My take. Fuel is politically combustible, and high fuel prices in an election year can be a recipe for a disaster. With international crude oil prices set to go even higher, things can only worsen. Sadly, neither the state nor the centre have much leeway. Cutting taxes on fuel means reduced state revenues and a consequent cutting down on investments in social sector schemes, which is virtually impossible in a big election year. So any token attempt to cut taxes will only end up as theatrics. With the options getting limited, the centre needs to seriously worry about the middle class consumer starting to hurt. It is this middle class that has been the core of Prime Minister Modi's support base. For the consumer, this isn't about the economics of rising global prices and its impact on India, but simply about a government that needs to be seen to do more to cushion their monthly budgets. One of the BJP's most successful slogans in 2014 was, "Bahut hui महंगाई se maar, ab ki baar Modi Sarkar." Keeping inflation at tolerable levels has been one of the successes of the Modi government, helped in part by a benign global environment. Now, as things take a turn for the worse, the government is realizing that life in the opposition is often easier than being in power. High fuel prices may not be the Modi government's fault, but the buck always stops with those who are in power.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you would love to.